I'm often asked what my favourite race is. It's a weird question because, as with most racing drivers, my favourite race could be considered any race I have the chance to win. Most ask as though are looking for a venue, a race and a reason, a soundbite to put in a slightly different font in a larger size to characterise an article, an angle to build a video, audio or written piece on the merits or otherwise of the venue, or just a heads up on where an automotive tourist might enjoy the most. The right question for that answer is more, if you could only race at one track for the rest of your life, which circuit would it be? Or phrased differently, since you only have one life, where do you want to race? For me, the Nordschleife is the answer to all of those questions, and I set out brazenly in 2023 to make a sequence of films about why the N24 would be my once-in-a-lifetime pick. In typical motorsport style, no plan survived first contact with the enemy, and the programme blew up completely in my face. A hastily recovered drive gave no opportunity to achieve what I wanted and communicate what I wanted to show. So, to take the idiom count to 2 in this intro, if at first you don't succeed, well, you get the idea. You find us at NLS 1 and 2, the season opener for Nürburgring's homegrown series, and a testbed for our second effort at Nürburgring 24-Hour Dreams. At the Nordschleife for the year, which is always a bit of a shock to the system, but it was good to get out there. There is only ever one aim when you go out on the Nordschleife for the first day of the year, and that is do not crash the car. So we've managed to achieve that. All three of us. Maurice Krantz, super experienced Nordschleife pro. Ben Bonigal, again, super experienced Nordschleife AM, and then me. So we've all had a bit of testing today and got stuff done. Out on the racetrack, bit of a downforce tweak at the rear end of the car, kind of characterised the day in terms of what we were testing, but mostly it's just about the drivers getting their eye in around, you know, the longest racetrack in the world. So that's it though. I mean, I've done 3 laps of the track, 2 on very old tyres, 1 on better tyres. Now we qualify because, you know, it takes so long to do a lap here that basically you barely ever get to run. So we'll be up bright and early tomorrow morning. 8:30 qualifying starts, that's the green flag. And then we race all day tomorrow. It's a double header here. NLS 1 is on Saturday and NLS 2 is on Sunday. 2 self-encapsulating race days. So you qualify in the morning and then you race in the afternoon on both days. And we're in it to win it. Our lineup is easily good enough to take a podium, probably good enough to take a win if we all perform well and the car performs well. So let's see. The biggest thing though is the car looks fantastic. So that's always a positive, and been out there and had great fun on track in what were reasonable conditions today. Fast forward to 8:30 the next morning, and those 3 laps of practice seem a very long way away. The Nürburgring, as always, caught me by surprise with its intensity and its speed. Did you always have to commit quite so hard to that apex? Did you always have to go quite so deep there to be on the pace? I had a lot to do this morning in what was going to be a very tricky qualifying session and not a lot of time to do it. Wet and drying on track and a set of new tyres with my name on them, I'm old enough to say I was not really ready for this. Throughout my whole sports car career, I fought to be the driver given the responsibility of a moment of qualifying, but in this instance I was glad my teammates would be running straight after me on a set of new tyres of their own. still very much in survival mode, it would be so easy to end what would have been a weekend of fun, enjoyment and potentially good results with a moment of silliness in qualifying. It was so wet and so slippery. After several days of on and off rain, I was cautious in the early morning sunlight. Despite my early caution, I ended up a quite satisfying 5th after my first run in the car on new tyres. It would then be handing over to Ben and Moritz to try to move the car up the road as the track continued to dry. We ended up P8 at the end of the session after a little bit of traffic for Moritz. Not where we needed to be, but we had 4 hours to remedy it. So we're about 10 minutes out from the green light. It's deceptively calm in the garage. 10 minutes out from the green light for the first race of the double header that is NLS1 and NLS2. We've qualified 8th, which ain't all that really. It was a wet and drying qualifying session. We ran at the end, we didn't really quite nail it in terms of how we ran the tyres through the session. I can moan a little bit about traffic, but not much about anything else. I think, to be honest, there are a lot of teams that have been testing all the way through the winter here, and we've kind of rocked up for the first race and expected to be competitive. We're missing about 10 seconds, I would say. I'll start the race, then it's going to be Ben in for the middle, and then Morris going to jump in for the end. No issues with reliability, no concerns on that. Tyres should be easy, it's just go for it, 4 hours. So we'll have to see how it plays out. And I can't tell you how refreshing it is to start a race on a set of indestructible Michelins, which you know are going to last for the whole stint. I don't know whether Mulner Motorsport trust me behind the wheel, or they're trying to make sure that I'm paying attention in the first NLS race of the year, but they've given me all the big boy duties. First run in qualifying and the start of the race. You save fuel to the line, and then it's all about making sure your teammates watching on very trustingly from the pit lane actually get a run later and an opportunity of a good result. The first race start of the year for so many competitors, including me, and I could tell just how much everyone was looking forward to getting stuck in. start meant that I ended up stuck behind a GT3 Lamborghini driven by an amateur driver and under pressure from guys in the same class. This was a move that had to happen immediately, otherwise I was going to be in trouble for the rest of the race. Done and I was released, but I was still under pressure from behind, getting a feel for how much I still had to learn in comparison to the regulars. Big moment in the carousel would put me under pressure through the final part of the lap, and I was really scrambling to hold my position. Just in time, we started to catch traffic, which allowed me to lean on skills learned as an old and ugly sports car driver rather than a Nürburgring expert. A 2-in-1 move down the Dottinger Höhe moved me up from P6 to P4, very satisfying, in a move I definitely didn't deserve on pace, but managed to get done. Now I'd got it up there, it was time to cling on, and the others weren't without their protests as to the position I now found myself in. And defence of the Nürburgring is all about keeping your elbows out on the Grand Prix circuit. Once you've managed to get it through that 5-ish kilometres, there's very little chance they're going to find a way by on the Northern Loop. Clinging for dear life to P4, I was well aware I'd arrived at someone else's racing series gun blazing and was receiving an education. These ring legends knew every single trick in the book in terms of how to manage traffic, the slow zones and the yellow flags. And the traffic weren't always being super helpful. Aided by a bit of attrition, but legitimately, I was able to bring the car back inside the top 3 at the end of my stint, which on a day that started with me trying not to snot the car in wet and drying conditions was an incredibly satisfying achievement. Goodness me, what a start to our Nürburgring adventure. It will be Ben up next, who is trying to take the car up into the top 3, managing to cling on to Black Falcon for the duration of his stint. We seem to have a little bit less pace than the Black Falcon car, but just able to stay ahead on merit of our straight line speed. It was going to be a big deal that we had more speed down the back straight and on the GP circuit for the rest of the race, and Ben did a famous job continuing to manage the car through the stint. Maurice Krantz took the car over in P4 and a sense of reassurance descended over the team. A seasoned ring pro with good races under his belt, we knew that he was going to bring back the car there or potentially better. But a frantic end of the race for the leaders, where they connected in the final chicane, threw everything up in the air with regards to our finishing result. We would finish 4th on the road, with Maurice just slightly too far back to be able to capitalise on the accident, but would there be penalties? We'd have to wait and see. Bit of excitement at the end. The leading 2 cars crashed with each other in the final corner of the race. Look, check this. I've got a fandom here. Got my entourage. There's teammate Ben wants to come and do some influencing with me. The leading 2 cars crashed. Maurice just couldn't beat either of them across the line, but there might be a penalty after the race. In any case, Ben's done a brilliant job, as has Maurice in the car. I was fine. And we've had a good race here. There's a sniff of a podium if there's a penalty between those leading 2. So, let's see how it goes after the race. As Bernie just said, Bernhard Mullner, who runs the team, there will be a race after the race, young Alex. So, let's find out.
Congratulations! Good job!
And Bernie's not often wrong, but he was right again. There was a steward's inquiry after the race, delivering us a podium for our efforts. And the team and I couldn't be happier. A podium on our first day of competition of the Nordschleife, and what better way to prepare for the Nürburgring 24 hours coming up in June. The car was good, the teammates rocked. The only problem was the pressure to deliver it all over again tomorrow, and that's what we were going to try to do, while stage by stage improving to get ourselves ready for the big one.